Everything is coming right on time, even if your heart is tired of waiting. Take a slow breath with me. Just gently inhale and exhale and let your shoulders drop for a moment. You don't have to carry everything right now. You don't have to figure everything out in this second. Just be here with me because I can feel it, that quiet ache inside you. That question you've been asking over and over again. When will it finally happen for me? My dear, I know how heavy that question can become. It doesn't just sit in your mind. It settles into your chest. It follows you into quiet moments. It whispers to you when you see others moving forward, when life seems to be unfolding for everyone else but you. And sometimes, if we're being honest, it makes you doubt yourself, doesn't it? You start wondering if you missed something, if you're behind, if you're not enough, or if somehow life has forgotten you. But, sweetheart, come closer for a moment, because I want you to hear this not just with your mind, but with your heart. Nothing about your journey is late. Nothing about your life is off track. And nothing that is meant for you has passed you by. Take another breath slowly, gently, because what feels like waiting, what feels like delay, what feels like silence is not absence. It is preparation. It is alignment. It is life rearranging itself in ways you cannot yet see. You see, we were taught to believe that if something isn't happening quickly, then something must be wrong. That if doors are not opening immediately, then we must be failing. That if the timeline doesn't match our expectations, then we've somehow fallen behind. But let me ask you something, my dear. Have you ever planted a seed and then stood over the soil the next day expecting it to bloom? Of course not, because something deep inside you understands that growth happens in silence, that roots form before anything becomes visible, that what looks like nothing on the surface is actually everything happening beneath. And yet, when it comes to your life, your dreams, your healing, your desires, you forget that same truth. You forget that you, too, are in a season of unseen growth. You forget that your roots are strengthening. You forget that your timing is not broken. It is simply unfolding. And I know it's not easy to trust what you cannot see. I know it's not easy to stay calm when your heart is longing, when you've been patient, when you've been trying, when you've been hoping. It's okay to feel that. It's okay to admit that sometimes you get tired of believing. But don't let that tiredness turn into doubt about your worth, or your path, or your future. Because the truth is, life is not responding to your urgency. It is responding to your readiness. And readiness, my dear, is not something you can rush. It is something you become. So instead of asking, why is this taking so long? What if, gently, softly, you began to ask, who am I becoming while I wait? Just sit with that for a moment. Because everything shifts when you ask that question. Suddenly, the waiting is no longer empty. Suddenly, the delay is no longer punishment. Suddenly, this moment, right here, becomes meaningful. Because maybe, just maybe, this isn't a pause in your life. Maybe this is the part where you are being shaped, strengthened, softened, expanded, prepared for something you cannot yet fully hold. Think about it. If everything you've ever wanted arrived exactly when you first desired it, would you have been ready to receive it fully? Would you have known how to keep it, nurture it, appreciate it? Or would it have overwhelmed you, slipped through your fingers, or come at a time when you were still too busy doubting yourself to truly accept it? My dear, timing is not just about getting what you want. It is about becoming the version of you who can hold it, live it, sustain it, and not lose yourself in the process. And that kind of becoming takes time. Not because you are slow, not because you are behind, but because you are being prepared with care. Just like a seed is not rushed, just like the sun does not rise before its time, just like the tide does not force itself to come in early, your life, too, follows a rhythm that is wiser than your fears, a rhythm that is more intelligent than your doubts, a rhythm that sees the full picture, even when you can only see a small piece. So when things don't happen when you expect them to, it's not rejection, it's redirection, it's protection, it's alignment. And I know those words can feel distant when your heart is hurting. I know it can feel like empty comfort when you're in the middle of uncertainty. But stay with me, because I want you to gently begin to feel into a deeper truth. What if nothing is missing? What if nothing is late? What if everything is quietly moving into place? Even now, even as you sit here listening, can you feel how that softens something inside you? Can you feel how that takes the pressure off? Just a little. You don't have to force your life forward. You don't have to chase what is already finding its way to you. You don't have to prove your worth by rushing your timeline. You are not in a race. You are in a process. And the process, my dear, is sacred. It is shaping your identity, your emotional world, your beliefs about what you deserve. Because here's something very gentle, but very important. What you receive in life is deeply connected to what you feel you are worthy of receiving, not what you say you want, but what you truly believe you can hold. And sometimes the delay is not because your desire is far away. It's because your identity is still catching up to it. And that's not a flaw. That's growth. So instead of pushing, instead of stressing, instead of questioning your entire path, what if you simply slowed down and allowed yourself to become? Take another breath with me. Inhale slowly and exhale. And as you breathe, I want you to gently notice something. Even in this moment, nothing is missing. You are here. You are breathing. You are still moving forward, even if it doesn't look like it on the outside. And that matters more than you realize, because progress is not always visible. Sometimes it is emotional. Sometimes it is internal. Sometimes it is the quiet shift from panic to trust, from pressure to peace, from when will it happen to I trust that it is happening. And that shift, my dear, changes everything. Not instantly, not dramatically, but deeply. Because when you stop chasing and start trusting, you create space. Space for things to come to you. Space for clarity. Space for alignment. Space for life to unfold naturally instead of being forced. So let me gently ask you, what would it feel like to trust your timing? Not perfectly, not all the time, but just a little more than you did yesterday. What would it feel like to believe that something beautiful is already on its way? What would it feel like to stop measuring your life against invisible deadlines and start honoring your own rhythm? Just imagine that for a moment, because that feeling, that quiet trust, that soft surrender, that is where everything begins to shift. Not outside first, but inside, And when something shifts inside you, life has a way of responding, not because you forced it, but because you aligned with it. So for now, my dear, you don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to see the whole path. You don't need to rush the unfolding. All you need to do is stay present, stay open, and stay willing to trust just a little more. Because everything you've been asking for, everything you've been hoping for, everything your heart quietly longs for, is not ignoring you. It is not avoiding you. It is not lost. It is coming right on time. And maybe, just maybe, what you're about to understand will change the way you see your entire life. Take a breath with me again, slowly, gently, as if you are no longer in a rush to get anywhere. Because this is where something subtle begins to shift. You see, my dear, most people spend their lives looking at time as something outside of them, something they are chasing, something they are running out of, something that controls when things happen. But what if I told you that your experience of time is deeply connected to your state of being? That when you feel anxious, everything feels delayed. When you feel desperate, everything feels out of reach. When you feel lack, everything appears missing. And yet, when you feel calm, when you feel whole, when you feel grounded, time softens, life flows. Opportunities begin to appear in ways you didn't expect. It's not because time suddenly changed. It's because you did. And I want you to really feel into that. Because this is where so many people get stuck. They try to control the outer world without realizing that their inner world is quietly shaping how that outer world responds. They keep asking, when will it come? But rarely ask, what am I feeling while I wait? So let me gently bring you here, right into this moment. What are you feeling when you think about the thing you desire? Is it tightness? Is it pressure? Is it fear that it might never happen? Is it a quiet voice that says, what if it doesn't work out for me? My dear, there is no judgment here, only awareness. Because those feelings, as natural as they are, create a kind of resistance. Not because you are doing anything wrong, but because you are holding on to the desire with tension instead of allowing it with trust. It's like trying to receive something while your hands are clenched. You cannot receive fully when you are gripping so tightly. So the shift is not about wanting less. It's about holding your desire differently, softer, calmer, with a sense of quiet certainty instead of urgency. And I know that's easier said than done. But stay with me, because I want to show you how to begin, not in a forceful way, not in a complicated way, but in a gentle, almost effortless way. Right now, wherever you are, just soften your breath again. Inhale slowly through your nose and exhale gently through your mouth. And as you do, I want you to imagine something. Imagine that what you've been waiting for is already making its way toward you, not as a distant hope, but as something that is already in motion, already unfolding, already being arranged in ways you cannot yet see. Can you feel how that changes your body, even slightly? Can you feel how the pressure eases just a little? That is the beginning of alignment. Not forcing yourself to believe something unrealistic, but allowing yourself to feel into the possibility that things are working out. Because the truth is, life is always moving. even when you feel stuck. Life is not stuck. Even when you feel delayed, life is not delayed. There are conversations happening, doors quietly opening, paths crossing, decisions being made, all outside of your awareness that are leading something toward you. And your role is not to control every step of that process. Your role is to stay open enough to receive it. So instead of tightening, you soften. Instead of chasing, you allow. Instead of questioning everything, you begin to trust just a little more. And this doesn't mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean you stop wanting. It doesn't mean you become passive. It simply means you shift from fear to faith, from urgency to trust, from it's not here yet to it is on its way. And that shift, my dear, is powerful because it changes how you show up in your daily life. It changes how you speak to yourself. It changes the energy you carry. And energy, whether we realize it or not, influences everything. The way people respond to you, the opportunities you notice, the decisions you make, the paths you take. So when you are constantly in a state of not yet, not enough, not happening, you unknowingly reinforce that experience. But when you begin to feel, even for a few moments each day, that quiet sense of trust, you begin to open new doors, not by force, but by alignment. And I want to be very gentle here, because this is not about pretending everything is perfect. It's not about ignoring your feelings. It's not about forcing positivity. It's about allowing yourself to feel safe, even in the unknown. Safe, even when you don't have all the answers. Safe, even when things haven't fully arrived yet. Because safety creates openness, and openness allows life to move. So let me guide you through something very simple, not as a technique, but as a moment of connection with yourself. Close your eyes if you can, or simply soften your gaze, and bring your awareness to your heart, just gently, without effort. And in your mind, say these words slowly, softly. I am not behind. Pause. I am not late. Pause. Everything is unfolding in perfect timing for me. And just feel that, not forcing it, not analyzing it, just letting those words settle like a soft blanket around your thoughts. If your mind resists, that's okay. If part of you doubts it, that's okay. You don't need to convince yourself completely. You just need to open a small space where trust can begin to grow. Because trust is not something that appears all at once. It builds gently, over time, through moments like this. Moments where you choose, even briefly, to release the pressure, to loosen the grip, to stop fighting the timing of your life. And in that space, something beautiful happens. You begin to feel lighter. You begin to feel calmer. You begin to feel supported. And when you feel supported, even if nothing has changed yet on the outside, everything changes on the inside. And that, my dear, is where true transformation begins, not in forcing outcomes, but in becoming the version of yourself who trusts the unfolding. The version of yourself who is no longer constantly asking when, but gently saying, I know it's coming, and I want you to understand something deeply. This is not about giving up control. This is about releasing the illusion that you were ever meant to control everything, because life is not something you dominate. It is something you dance with. And sometimes the music slows down. Sometimes there are pauses. Sometimes there are moments of stillness where nothing seems to be happening. But those moments are part of the rhythm. They are not mistakes. They are not empty. They are necessary. So if you find yourself in a quiet season, a waiting season, a nothing is changing season, please don't assume that nothing is happening. Assume that everything is aligning. Assume that something is being prepared. Assume that your life is moving in ways you cannot yet see. And most importantly, assume that you are exactly where you need to be. Right here, right now, not ahead, not behind, but perfectly placed. In this moment of your becoming, take another breath with me, slowly, gently, and feel into that truth. And now, my dear, let's gently step into something even deeper, something that is often hidden beneath the surface of waiting, something so subtle that many people never notice it, and yet it quietly shapes everything. Take a soft breath, let it fill your chest, and release it slowly. Because what I'm about to share with you is not meant to overwhelm you, it's meant to free you. You see, sometimes the reason things feel delayed isn't because life is holding them back from you, it's because a small part of you is still holding them away. And I say this with so much tenderness, not to blame you, never to blame you, but to help you understand yourself more deeply. Because within you, there are layers. There is the part of you that dreams, that hopes, that desires more. But there is also the part of you that has been hurt, that has been disappointed, that has learned to protect itself. And sometimes these two parts are not fully aligned. You may consciously say, I want love, I want success, I want peace. But somewhere, quietly, beneath that, there may be a whisper that says, what if I lose it? What if I'm not enough to keep it? What if it hurts me again? And my dear, that whisper matters, because life does not only respond to what you say you want, it responds to what you feel safe receiving. So if there is even a small part of you that feels unsafe, unworthy, or afraid, you may find yourself unintentionally holding your desires at a distance, not because you are broken, but because you are protecting yourself. And can you just pause here for a moment and feel how compassionate that is? That part of you is not your enemy. It's a guardian. It learned through experience, through pain, through moments where things didn't go as planned, that it needed to keep you safe. So instead of pushing it away, instead of trying to fix yourself, what if you simply listened to it? What if you gently asked yourself, where in me do I still feel afraid to receive what I desire? Take your time with that question. There is no rush to answer. Just let it sit like a soft ripple in your awareness, because awareness is the beginning of release. And when you become aware, not with judgment, but with kindness, something begins to soften. So if you notice fear, that's okay. If you notice doubt, that's okay. If you notice a part of you that feels undeserving, that's okay. You are not here to fight those feelings. You are here to meet them with love. Because healing, my dear, does not happen through force. It happens through understanding. It happens through allowing. It happens through creating a sense of safety within yourself so that those protective parts can finally relax. So let me guide you gently. Imagine that version of you, the one who feels afraid, the one who doubts, the one who has been hurt before. Just imagine them standing in front of you, not as something separate, but as a younger, more vulnerable part of you. Can you see them? Can you feel their energy? They're not trying to sabotage you. They're trying to protect you. So, instead of pushing them aside, I want you to softly say, "It's okay. You're safe now. I understand why you feel this way, but we don't have to stay here anymore." Just feel that. Feel the softness of those words. Feel the way they begin to ease something inside you. Because when you bring compassion to your inner world, you remove the resistance that was quietly blocking your outer world. And suddenly, things don't feel so stuck anymore. They don't feel so far away. They begin to feel possible again. And that's all you need. Not certainty, not perfection, just a gentle sense of possibility. Now take another breath, slowly. And as you exhale, I want you to release something very specific. Release the idea that you have to be completely healed, completely confident, completely ready before life can give you what you desire. That is not true. You are allowed to receive, even as you are still growing. You are allowed to experience joy, even if parts of you are still healing. You are allowed to step into new opportunities, even if you don't have everything figured out. Because growth does not happen before life unfolds. Growth happens as life unfolds. So you don't need to wait until you feel perfect. You only need to feel open. Open enough to allow something new. Open enough to trust a little more. Open enough to believe, even slightly, that things can work out for you. And that openness, my dear, is something you can practice every day. Not in a rigid way, but in a gentle, flowing way. When you wake up in the morning, before the world rushes in, just take a moment, place your hand on your heart, and whisper softly, "I am open to receiving what is meant for me," and let that be enough. You don't need to control how it comes. You don't need to chase it. You don't need to overthink it. Just open, and as you move through your day, notice the small moments, the quiet opportunities, the gentle nudges, because life rarely arrives all at once. It arrives in pieces, in conversations, in ideas, in unexpected turns. And if you are too focused on the big picture, you might miss the small steps that are leading you there. So slow down, pay attention, and trust that even the smallest shift is part of something greater. And now I want to give you something you can carry with you. Something simple, something soft, something that you can return to whenever doubt begins to rise. Just listen, or repeat quietly in your heart, "I trust the timing of my life." Pause. "I am not being left behind." Pause. "What is meant for me is finding me." Pause. "I am becoming ready in the most perfect way." Pause. "I release the need to rush." Pause. "I allow life to unfold, gently, beautifully, in its own time." Just feel those words. Let them settle into you, not as something you force yourself to believe, but as something you allow yourself to feel, little by little, day by day. Because repetition, my dear, is how new beliefs are formed, not through pressure, but through gentle consistency. And over time, something incredible happens. You stop panicking. You stop comparing. You stop feeling like you're running out of time. And instead, you begin to feel grounded, peaceful, trusting. And from that place, life flows differently. Decisions become clearer. Opportunities feel more natural. And what once felt far away begins to draw closer, almost effortlessly. So if you ever find yourself slipping back into doubt, if you ever feel that familiar anxiety rising again, just pause, take a breath, and remind yourself, I am not late. I am not missing out. I am exactly where I need to be, because you are. Even now, even here, even in this moment of uncertainty, you are still on your path. You are still moving forward. You are still becoming. And everything you've been waiting for, everything you've been hoping for, everything your heart has been quietly calling in, is not ignoring you. It is not distant. It is not out of reach. It is simply aligning with you. So be gentle with yourself. Be patient with your process. Be kind to the parts of you that are still learning to trust. And most of all, stay open, because everything is coming, not late, not early, but right on time. And you, my dear, are already on your way.